Good afternoon. I would like to call the meeting of the Assembly Committee on Revenue to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Assembly members Considine, De Silva, Flanagan, Gallant, Goulding, Gray, Hafen, Wynn, O'Neill, Roth, Chair Backus.
And I am present. I'd like to welcome those here in Carson City. I do understand today we do have an overflow room as well in Carson City. Also welcome those in Las Vegas and those that are watching online. Just a couple little housekeeping matters for this evening because we do have a lot of stuff on our agenda. The first thing is if you plan to testify in support, or even if you're testifying for a bill, always remember to say your name before you begin testifying. Those that may be offering testimony over the telephone line, I would ask that you state your name slowly and spell it so that we make sure we get who you are for our minutes. With that, we have a lot of things on our agenda. We are going to start the beginning of our hearing with the work session. We have 3 bills on our work session, and then we have 4 bills on our agenda for hearing. I try to limit each bill to an hour for hearing, and what that looks like is we'll do a 15-minute presentation, allow for about 10 minutes of questioning, and then we will take testimony in support. I'd ask those giving testimony in support to limit your testimony to about 2 minutes, and we may shorten it. I kind of like to think if I do 10 minutes in support, 10 minutes in opposition, 10 minutes in neutral, that kind of gives us the hour. However, we'll try to take as much as we can, and we will always give equal time to each of the sides. So we'll keep track of that time as we're doing that. So if someone ahead of you is giving testimony that you're really going to say, it's okay to say ditto and just make sure you get out who you're representing so that more people are represented on the record. That makes it helpful for us up here and we don't have to end and cut off individuals from giving testimony. We also always welcome testimony in writing. So if you jump up and say that you support a bill, you can also say that you're going to submit your testimony in writing, and you can send that to our committee manager. One thing I didn't note is, Madam Secretary, those that aren't here are actually in other hearings, and as they arrive, please mark them present when they get here. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open our work session. We are going to take our work session bills out of order. Okay, just because we're going to do some strange stuff, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our work session items out of order. Let me... We'll go ahead and start with Assembly Bill 238. With that, what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and just actually accept a motion on this bill, on Assembly Bill 238, to move this AB 238 without recommendation. Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
I have a first from Vice Chair Considine. I have a second from Assembly Member O'Neill. Is there any discussion on the motion? With that, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. We have a nay from Assembly Member Hafen. With that, we'll go ahead and move to our next item on our work session, Assembly Bill 70. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Powers.
Thank you, Chair Backus. Susanna Powers, Deputy Fiscal Analyst with the Fiscal Division. The work session document is available to the public in Nellis. Assembly Bill 70 was sponsored by this committee on behalf of the Nevada Association of Counties. The bill was heard on March 11th, 2025 by this committee. Assembly Bill 70 requires the Director of the Office of Energy to allow county commissioners to submit written comments on applications for partial tax abatements for renewable energy facilities and to consider these comments when deciding whether to approve or deny the application. A proposed amendment to Assembly Bill 70 was submitted by the Nevada Association of Counties, the Solar Energy Industries Association, and Interwest Energy Alliance. The amendment removes the original language in the bill and instead amends NRS 701A.365 to authorize conditional approval of an application for certain facilities for a partial abatement located on federal land. As part of the conditional approval, a county is authorized to assess an applicant for an amount up to $50,000 for the county's actual costs incurred in participating in the preparation of an environmental impact statement required by federal law. The county is allowed to require prepayment of this assessment, with the difference refunded if the actual costs are less than the prepayment. The facility may also require the county to provide documentation of the actual costs incurred for the preparation of this statement. Additionally, a county is prohibited from requiring special use permits that hinder the facility's financial or operational viability, or from imposing any new or existing moratoriums against renewable energy that apply to the facility if the county approves and makes a recommendation of approval of an application for partial tax abatements for renewable energy facilities to the Director of the Governor's Office of Energy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. You did, okay. Yeah, it was a long, yeah.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Are there any questions on the work session documents with respect to Assembly Bill 70? I will go ahead and then entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 70 with the amendment submitted by the Nevada Association of Counties, the Solar Energy Industries Association, and Interwest Energy Alliance as outlined in the work session documents.
Amended.
I have a first from Vice Chair Considine, a second from Assembly Member Nguyen. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion unanimously carries. I will go ahead and assign the floor statement to Assemblymember Nguyen. Thank you for your volunteering. Next in our work session is Assembly Bill 479. I will go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Powers.
Thank you, Chair Backus. Susanna Powers, Deputy Fiscal Analyst with the Fiscal Division. The work session document is available to the public in Nellis. Assembly Bill 479 was sponsored by Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure on behalf of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. The bill was heard on April 1, 2025 by this committee. Assembly Bill 479 amends NRS 361A.030 to include agrivoltaic purposes as a recognized agricultural use for the taxation of agricultural real property, and defines agrivoltaic purposes as the integrated use of land for both solar energy generation and agricultural production, including crop cultivation and livestock farming. A proposed amendment to Assembly Bill 479 was submitted by Assemblymember Watts. The amendment revises the definition of agrivoltaic purposes in Section 1 as a system that integrates solar energy production and agricultural use through compatible designs, technologies, and configurations on the same land. Additionally, the amendment specifies that to be included in a definition of current employment of real property in agricultural use, in Section 1, the land used for agrivoltaic purposes must have been classified as agricultural real property with associated deferred taxes on or before July 1, 2025. Finally, the amendment adds a provision to Section 2 stating that properties receiving other property tax abatements under Chapter 701A of the Nevada Revised Statutes cannot qualify to be assessed for agrivoltaic purposes. Assembly Bill 479 was denoted as being eligible for exemption by the Fiscal Analysis Division on March 27, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions regarding the work session documents? With that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 479 with the amendment submitted by Assemblymember Watts as outlined in the work session documents. I have a first from Assemblymember Hafen and a second from Assemblymember Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion unanimously carries, and I will go ahead and assign the floor statement to Assemblymember Watts. With that, we can go ahead and move on to our public hearings on our 4 bills this evening. We're going to take those out of order. We will go ahead and start with Assembly Bill 100. We will then go to Assembly Bill 460, well, actually, we'll go to Assembly Bill 535, 462, and 314. So I will go ahead and welcome the bill sponsor for Assembly Bill 100 to the dais and open the hearing. And so feel free to begin, Assemblymember Gurr, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Baucus. Good afternoon. I got out of order already. Good afternoon, Chair Baucus, Vice Chairman Considine, and members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me to present Assembly Bill 100 today. I want to begin by thanking Assemblyman Koenig for working with me on this measure. We're also working on an amendment from the Nevada Aviation Association, and I believe we will be able to reach a consensus that we can bring a final unified amendment to the committee for consideration when that's done. Also up on Nellis, we have amended Assemblyman members Koenig and De Silva as co-sponsors. And at this point, let me introduce the people to my right. With me today to help present this is Kenneth Mullen. He's the president of the Nevada Aviation Association, and Jesse Wadhams is here to help us with support. I'll try and keep my remarks brief. As many of you know, it's extremely challenging to maintain robust air service at our rural airports in Nevada. And Ken, we've got 27 of them? 30 rural airports, so it's pretty difficult to do. This bill is designed to help all our smaller airports thrive, whether they're dealing with few flights, high cost, or aging infrastructure. From an economic development standpoint, rural air service is crucial. Businesses need dependable passenger flights to get their people in and out quickly and efficiently. This bill aims to support those airports, help spur growth, and make air travel more accessible in every corner of our state. Additionally, there are critical public safety reasons to maintain and develop our rural airports. Fire suppression tankers need sufficient runway length, especially in hot summer months when they are on standby to land and refuel. Air ambulances rely on safe and stable runways free of hazards to transport patients and fly-in medical professionals. In many cases, a well-maintained airport or heliport can be the difference between life and death for our rural residents in need of urgent medical care. Assembly Bill 100, which I think was AB 429 last session, originally focused, and don't quote me on that, originally focused, even though it was my bill, on appropriations to the existing Air Service Development Fund. Assemblyman Koenig's conceptual amendment proposes to adopt and incorporate all of AB 293 of this session into AB 100, revising the appropriations in Section 2 of AB 100 so that it's deposited not into the fund created by NRS 231.690, but instead into the newly created Nevada Aerospace Development Fund. That's set forth in Section 8 of this amendment. Thank you again. I was going to give you a history lesson on where we are with why we're doing AB 100 this session, but But most of you heard it last session, and we did pass it out clear to the Senate, and I would appreciate that kind of support again. So with that, I'm going to turn over the rest of the presentation. AB 100, if you need it, I can go into the references of it, but I think we covered it pretty much in the front part of this. And I turn it over to Mr. Moen to discuss the majority of the amendment, or whatever, or Mr. Wadhams, whoever wants to go first.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Good afternoon, Chair Bacchus, members of the committee. Jesse Wadhams with the law firm of Black & Wadhams on behalf of the Nevada Aviation Association. Want to thank Assemblyman Gurr for letting us work with him on AB 100. And ultimately, we're here to amend AB 293 into AB 100 and sort of merge those two concepts because they both deal with aviation development and service and coordination. So we are looking to ultimately merge and reorganize Nevada's current structures and sort of give them a little bit more cohesive focus in Nevada state government. And to give you that business case, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moen of the Nevada Aviation Association, but I did want to take a point of real personal privilege and thank you, Chair, for taking us out of order because, and I want to say this on the record because it will never be said again, 2 Sigma Rizzlers are having their birthdays today, and I'd like to go enjoy pizza with them in a few moments.
And that's really important for everybody involved. I agree. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Moen. I'm the president of the Nevada Aviation Association. You may recall I was here last year and presented to this committee. And I want to thank everybody for their attention on this matter. We did a little bit of light research over the past year with the University of Nevada, Reno Center for Economic Development. And what we did is we compared the aviation programs in the 11 western states with the purpose of focusing on how they were formulated, how they're funded, what programs they run, and what it does for their organizations and also for aviation in their states. We discovered many things, especially about our own state, and one was how hard the data was to come by, but also how critical aviation is to this state. I don't need to tell anybody, but I'll do a quick snap poll by show of hands. Did anybody drive here from Las Vegas? Okay, so I've done the drive before, but what I do know is that we don't want to do that regularly. And so aviation is incredibly important to a rural state like Nevada, most mountainous state in the union. And in order for us to get from one state to the other, I know that Mr. Gurr has quite a drive to cover his own district. And we don't have 30 airports with commercial service in the state. We have 4. That would be Harry Reid, Reno Tahoe, Elko, and then also Boulder City. What we're trying to do with this piece of legislation is define why are we looking at this. The success we had in the last session was the state appropriated $2 million for the Nevada Fund for Aviation, which helped leverage over $20 million of federal grant money to improve and maintain our airports. Critical ask, and we'd love to do that again this session because we know it'll help economically for our airports, but it'll also return revenue to our state. The other thing that was approved was the Air Service Development Commission, which previously was created and only lived on paper under the Department of Tourism. We moved it to the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and the governor appointed this chair. We didn't get any funding for this this commission, but what we have done is we've appointed 7 people from across the state, representing Clark County, Nevada, League of Cities, Resorts Association, Tourism, Reno Tahoe Airport Authority, and of course the Nevada Aviation Association is also present on that committee. We just completed a strategic plan. So we're moving down this direction of how we could prepare Nevada to take the next step for the future of aviation. Aviation has been around since the Wright brothers, but it's continuing to evolve and grow, and we as a state need to stay up with that. Advanced air mobility is going to play a crucial role in that. Once those aircraft get certified, they're going to want to integrate into the system, and we need a mechanism at the state level to help that process. I want to emphasize one quick piece, and I want to compare aviation to how even our own bodies function. Clark County is obviously the heart of aviation and economic vitality in the state. It pumps sustaining life through the body, and Clark County drives the flow and passengers across the system. Airports and municipalities across Nevada rely on this connection to thrive. Without a system-wide focus, we become a fragile network, and unable to fulfill the potential, much like the body struggling without a healthy circulatory system. The health of Nevada's aviation system depends on the vitality of Clark County, its pulse, and ensuring the system functions at its best. Nevada is a single, interconnected entity. It's one state and unified by aviation, seamlessly integrating with the national airspace system. Much like the organs of a healthy body working in harmony, establishing an Office of Aerospace would serve as a central nervous system, coordinating those essential signals to ensure a complex network operates smoothly and efficiently. This is one of the things we just completed discussing at our statewide aviation conference that was at the El Dorado Hotel. Clark County Department of Aviation was present, and Rosemary Vasiliadis, the director, delivered the keynote address. And following her was her staff that talked about all the projects that they have at Harry Reid Airport. That was followed by the projects that are going on at Reno Tahoe. We need to be able to connect our state with that understanding of the immense amount of capital needed, but to push 60 million people through the Las Vegas airport, connecting the rest of the country with Las Vegas is crucial. Airspace is a crucial need for maintaining that. That's why an organization looking at this advanced air mobility aspect, how that integrates, provides this professionalism, oversight, and control over infrastructure. Clark County and Reno Tahoe will always have funding available to them through passenger facility charges and other FAA grant money. Comparing ourselves to other states, we can see that where Nevada lacks and where we can go from here. But having this reconstituted Office of Aerospace under this restructured Air Service Development Commission would provide a crucial network for that avenue. And so with that, I want to thank the committee for their time and their attention to this matter, and I look forward to any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are you all ready for questions? Okay, I can go ahead and start it off, just because I remember we have a lot of new faces on our revenue committee, and so a lot of folks may not weren't here last session to hear your presentation. But I know ultimately funding was given, and if I recall, there's like a really good like federal to state dollar match. And so my question was, one, like, how did that work last session with the utilization of the funding that the state put in? Like, were you able to get federal grants? What did that look like? What work was able to be done?
Thank you, Chair Backus. The FAA has a funding mechanism for a variety of states, and most airports are at a 90-10 ratio for a FAA dollar and then a 10% match. Well, Nevada, being a rural state, has a little better setup. We only have a 6.25% match in the state. So in the past, there have been local airports, rural primarily, and then Nevada Fund for Aviation only supports the rural counties. It doesn't go into the Clark County or Washoe County. And they were able to leverage over $20 million in projects. As a matter of fact, that $1 million appropriation in the first year leveraged about $13 million in projects. And this year, we're actually overprescribed. And so what we voted on at the NATAC meeting at the end of the conference was to fund all of them with just at a lower percentage. So it was, instead of a full 6.25%, it was like 4.6%. So that actually brought in additional grant funding by doing that. So it requires the local municipalities to put up a little extra funding. But an interesting aspect is that I love a great sale. And if we're going to get 90+% on every dollar that we expend in our state, and we can return that back to the state, that's a credible buy. And this supports not just the communities themselves, but it also supports aeronautical businesses, it supports mining, it supports ag. It's just a tremendous hope, a level of support across the whole industry.
And so can you kind of, with that amazing matching of like, it looks like about $14 million in the first fiscal year, can you give the committee some examples that you were able to utilize those funds at rural airports?
Yes, ma'am. I have, Kenneth, this is Kenneth Moen for the record. Sorry about that. I do have two schedules that were produced by NDOT, which oversees the Nevada Fund for Aviation. And so just as a project summary, I'll just start reading a few of those that are listed, just so you get an idea of what those look like. construct and improve a fuel farm, expand an apron, construct a taxi lane, install a automatic weather observation station, rehabilitate a runway, update airport master plan or study, rehabilitate a runway, install weather reporting equipment, install approach aid, rehabilitate an apron, master plan studies, reconstruct taxiways and runways, install miscellaneous nav aids, rehabilitate runway, reconstruct taxiways. All these, this infrastructure is incredibly expensive, as you can imagine. And one of the challenges that we have in the state is a lot of times a project in a rural area will have difficulty getting adequate bidders because they're remote, and so the mobilization costs are extremely high. So we've been working as the Nevada Aviation Association with the Federal Aviation Administration Airport District Office to look at a method of improving that. So we just had this discussion yesterday about combining multiple projects, especially these reconstruction of taxiways and pavement maintenance programs, and do them under a single bid instead of each municipality having to go out to bid separately. So this is kind of a pilot experiment for us, but we think it's going to be very successful.
Thank you so much for that. Members, does anyone have any questions regarding this assembly bill? My one just thing would be to ask is, I saw that you had the very thick UNR study on the economic development aspects of this in the, like, I guess in the space of the rural airport space. Do you know if that's publicly available?
Yes, ma'am. It's on our web, Kenneth Moen for the record. It's on the nevadaaviation.org website under Resources tab. And it's broken down as you can download the full document if you'd like, but there's also broken down by chapters. About 125 pages of this document is narrative. The rest are tables and examples, including at the back a bunch of original legislation that created departments in other states. So it's really a total resource for how we're in the environment we're in the neighboring states and how their programs operate. So we propose a whole structure and identify how we can be competitive in the aviation management aspect of this.
Thank you so much. And before we go into opening testimony and support, opposition, neutral, do any of our other members have questions? Okay, you guys can go ahead and take a seat with the audience.
Chair Baucus, could I back up a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the key components in this bill is that we're moving the Office of Aerospace that we're creating into NDOT instead of GOED. I missed that in the process, but we're going to go, NDOT has the structure in place already. They're already there. They have the personnel. GOED didn't even have a budget last session, as Ken mentioned. So we're going to go there. And also, I want to get on the record that Northeastern Nevada, which of course I represent, has started their own Northeastern Nevada Aviation Alliance, I think. And Elko, and I think Eureka, and possibly Battle Mountain are funding flights into Elko right now to the tune of about $500,000 a month to get people to, to get those flights in. We're going to go back to another flight a day. I guess it starts in May. So you can fly out of Elko in the morning to Salt Lake and back from Salt Lake at 9:30 at night, 6:30 in the morning, 9:30 at night. Right now, they're going to put in an afternoon launch, and that's all due to the local governments putting up their money and getting it in. So anything we can do from the state level to help that grow would be wonderful, and I needed to get that on the record. Thank you.
And Chair Baucus, if I may, Ken Moen for the record, the return on that investment for just one flight, I'm going to use, because I have a document that demonstrates that for a 737, every time that lands at the Reno Tahoe Airport is $130,000 of economic impact to the community. Now, Elko is supported by a jet probably a third of that size, but there's a similar economic impact to that community because of that. And as a result, we would love to be able to connect Las Vegas, Reno, Elko. Right now, if you're going to go to either Reno or Las Vegas, out of Elko, you got to go to Salt Lake first. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. With that, we'll go ahead and open up testimony in support of Assembly Bill 100 here in Carson City. Please make your way to the dais and feel free to begin when each of you are ready.
Good afternoon, Chair. For the record, my name is Vincent Guthreau. Last name is spelled Gutreau. I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada Association of Counties, or NACO, the statewide association that represents all 17 of Nevada's counties. We're supportive of this measure. I think the bill presentation said it the best. I think the critical air service is needed for a variety of things, not just tourism, but workforce and other things, and to connect all corners of this state. So for that, and we are supportive of this bill. Thank you for hearing it.
Good afternoon, Chair Considine, members of the Revenue Committee, Joanna Jacob, JACOB, on behalf of Clark County, on behalf of Harry Reid International Airport, which, in case for the new committee members, if you're not aware, is operated by Clark County. Harry Reid International, when you fly in, is the Clark County Department of Aviation. So we work with our airport quite closely, and they have been in communication with Assemblyman Booker, Assemblyman Koenig. We are in support of the bill as amended, and particularly the creation of the Office of the Aerospace with amendments that will really take into account the statewide approach for this office, but also that we can collaborate with our rural partners on the aviation and moving this space forward. We wanted to say thank you for their consideration of the amendments offered by the Nevada Aviation Association, and we stand in very, very strong support of this bill. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair Backus and members of the Assembly Revenue Committee. My name is Darren Griffin, President and CEO of the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority. First, we're proud to be the airport serving all of you as you travel between Las Vegas and Carson City. We hope you're enjoying our airport and the improvements that we've made and will be making in the next several years. But today I'm here as a passionate advocate for and supporter of Assembly Bill 100 in its amended form. I've spent my career in airports, more than 30 years, all over the West Coast and Western states. I'm on the board of the National Airport Industry Trade Association and follow aviation and airport issues all around the world. I'm here to tell you that the future of aviation is advancing quickly, and concepts that we've believed to be science fiction are just right around the corner at this point. I'm expecting that air taxis will be in operation in the United States before the end of this decade. This technology requires a high level of coordination with the FAA, air traffic control, and airport operations teams everywhere. As you may know, safety of air travel is at the forefront of the national aviation discussion right now, given the unusual number of incidents and accidents that have happened this year. I was just in Washington, D.C. last week, and I can assure you that the focus of the federal agencies, FAA, TSA, all of them, is the modernization of the air traffic safety systems and safety in general for aviation. Nevada needs to be ready to be part of this effort, especially relates to advanced air mobility. Currently, there is not sufficient state infrastructure in Nevada to take aviation into the next generation. Without a state regulatory agency to participate in the formulation of consistent rules, regulation of advanced air mobility will be left to the local level. Local jurisdictions are not well positioned or honestly qualified to safely regulate technology like electric air taxis that will cross many county and even state lines during a single trip. Air taxis could be a part of the transportation solution to Lake Tahoe, Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the new supplemental airport in Las Vegas, and other remote locations across Nevada's landscape that require innovative solutions. Fortune 500 companies like Southwest Airlines and Toyota are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into the development and manufacturing of electric aircraft. Los Angeles and Salt Lake City are looking at this technology now as they prepare to host the Olympics. This technology is closer than we think and is about to be available commercially via Amazon, Uber, and many other companies. Nevada is the only Mountain West state without a robust state regulatory presence for aviation. Please consider investing state resources to give Nevada an opportunity to safely regulate the future of aviation, and this investment will pay dividends back to the state in the form of safety, innovation, and economic development. And we are certainly willing to work with any stakeholders on the structure of the bill that makes the most sense for Nevadans. Thank you very much.
Chair Backus, members of the committee, Connor Kane, CONNORCAIN with Curra, Nevada, on behalf of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, also in support. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wanting to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 100 this evening? Okay, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 100?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 100, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue.
Jim Foster, JIMFOSTER, Elko Regional Airport Manager. I'd like to include with some of this Chairperson Backus's question earlier about some of the airports that have received some of that additional funding, which my airport is one. We just started a $5.5 million ramp reconstruction project on Monday, and that's why I'm not there to see you guys today. We will be a recipient of a reimbursable grant through the DOT in that funding phase. So we are in support of AB 100 as with the amendment and the creation of the Aerospace Division. Thank you.
Thank you so much. AVH, is there another caller?
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson Backus and the committee. My name is Jan Baum, JANBAUM, City Manager for the City of Elko. The City of Elko fully supports AB 100 as it provides critical funding and a platform to enhance intrastate commercial air service in Nevada. This legislation will open up new opportunities for diversified economic development, help attract additional employees, improve access to healthcare providers and services, and expand leisure and tourism opportunities. All of these benefits will positively impact not only our remote community, but also the entire state of Nevada. Currently, partners within the Elko Regional Airport catchment area are contributing over $1 million annually to maintain just one commercial flight per day to and from Salt Lake City, Utah to Elko Regional Airport. For residents of northeastern Nevada to access the two major metropolitan areas in the state, Reno and Las Vegas, they face a challenging 4 to 7 hour drive each way during all weather types, as there are no direct flight options from Elko Regional Airport to either city. Investing in airport infrastructure and expanding commercial air travel options is crucial for economic development in Nevada. The City of Elko is grateful for the opportunity to voice our strong support for AB 100. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Revenue Committee members. My name is Reese Keener, and I serve as Mayor of Elko. As the chairman of the newly formed Nevada Air Service Development Commission, I'm asking for your support of AB 100. We have 7 dedicated commission members that have been working diligently on completing our strategic plan, which should be finalized next week when our board reconvenes. However, without funding, we will never be able to execute on our mission. Despite being one of the largest industries in the United States, aviation has been woefully underfunded in Nevada as compared with other Western states. We have a great opportunity to increase air connectivity within the state, but we cannot do this without funding to provide minimum rate guarantees for secondary and tertiary markets. Expanded air service will benefit all Nevadans and help promote more commerce and tourism. We can all relate to the miracle of Las Vegas with its explosive growth. However, imagine how different it would be without the influence of the nearly 60 million travelers that go through Harry Reid International Airport each year. As for me, I regret that I can't be there in person to testify. With no direct flights from Elko to Reno, it's a 9-hour round trip drive that I've already made once this week and unfortunately wasn't able to do again. AB 100 is an investment in our state and its people, which will produce measurable results, but only if funded. Please support the passage of AB 100. Thank you for your consideration.
Chair, the public lines are open and working, but we have no more callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move into testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 100. We'll start here in Carson City. Is there anyone wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 100? We'll go ahead to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 100? AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 100?
To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 100, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move to neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 100. We'll start here in Carson City. Anyone wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 100? We'll go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, is there anyone wishing to give neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 100 this evening? Doesn't look like anyone's coming up. So we'll go to the phone lines again. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 100?
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 100, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'll go ahead and invite the bill sponsor back up for any closing remarks.
Just want to thank you, Chair, for hearing the bill, members of the committee. I know everybody in Eastern Nevada is very much in favor of doing this, and I think from what I can hear, I'm really proud and happy to have had all of the airport authorities and everybody else in favor of this. And thank everybody who testified in favor. And I want to thank everybody who testified in opposition, too. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And with that, we can go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 100. And we're going to take a 1-minute recess so we can play musical chairs really fast.
We are back from recess, and I will open the hearing on Assembly Bill 535. Please begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Considine and members of Assembly Revenue. My name is Shay Backus. I have the pleasure of representing District 37 and to expedite our hearing and really hear from the true expert on this bill and the reason why Assembly Bill 535 is important to revise provisions relating to the sales tax exemption for organizations created for religious, charitable, or educational purposes. I'm going to end up turning it over to Mr. Miles Dixon from the Nevada Grant Lab. I also have with me today Francisco Morales from Brownstein Hyatt, but he's going to be here in case we have some complex questions that may be asked. So with that, Mr. Dixon, I will turn the presentation over to you down there in Las Vegas.
Hello, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Miles Dixon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present in front of you, Assembly Committee on Revenue, Vice Chair Considine, and thank you, Chair Backus, for your leadership on this measure. I'm the CEO and founder of Nevada Grant Lab, which is a Las Vegas-based 501c3 organization dedicated to strengthening and supporting Nevada's nonprofit sector, as well as its government partners, by helping them access and administer resources that help them do their best work for Nevadans. As part of our work, we see firsthand the challenges and opportunities that Nevada nonprofits encounter as they serve our neighbors and communities. One of those challenges is being denied a religious, charitable, or education, sales, and use tax exemption, despite being designated as such an organization by the Internal Revenue Code pursuant to 26 USC. I briefly want to just share that, as some of you may know, under existing state law, organizations that are religious, charitable, and educational in nature are entitled to a sales and use tax exemption. That originally appeared in 1955 Tax Act and ultimately was expanded in 1996 by a vote of the voters that essentially allows that services and goods both sold by and purchased by eligible organizations are entitled to a sales and use tax exemption. AB 535 attempts to simplify and clarify the eligibility requirements for Nevada's sales and use tax exemption for nonprofits that are designated as 501c3. Doing this will help nonprofit organizations save time and resources and ultimately focus more of that time and resources on their missions. This adjustment should also hopefully save the state time and resources and eliminate the potential for subjective and inconsistent treatment of nonprofit corporations under the state. As Chair Backus stated, existing law allows these organizations that are established for religious, charitable, or educational purposes to seek a sales and use tax exemption. However, the existing definitions and requirements are, in our opinion, vague and leave room for broad subjectivity. This bill would amend NRS 372-3261 and 374-3306. Specifically, sections 1.5 and 2.5 add clarifying language and establish a standardized definition of organizations that qualify for Nevada's sales and use tax exemption under NRS. Specifically, it reads that an organization is created for religious, charitable, or educational purposes if the organization, A, complies with the requirements of subsection 6, B, operates exclusively for any exempt purpose under sections 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, 26 USC 501c3, and the organization is recognized as exempt by the IRS pursuant to section 501c3, and is operating in the state. I want to quickly note that it's important to recognize the subsection 6 requirement because ultimately that encompasses quite a bit of the existing statute. I think that's important to recognize because the intent of this language is to streamline the process and demonstration requirements for nonprofit organizations that have already completed the arduous process of obtaining a federal 501c3 tax exemption. It is not to expand the universe of organizations eligible for that exemption or to disregard the state's existing statutory structure. We're simply trying to open a pathway that allows organizations that have already gone through the 26 USC 501c3 process to bring that forward as part of their application process to the state as a basis for demonstrating that purpose. Notably, this bill will also create parity with various other sections of NRS where a nonprofit corporation or a charitable organization or a corporation for public benefit are all defined by reference to their tax-exempt status bestowed by the IRS. For example, Chapter 363B, business tax, Chapter 82, nonprofit corporations, Chapter 82A, charitable solicitations, and Chapter 333, state purchasing, all share a uniform approach to utilizing a nonprofit's IRS designation as sufficient demonstration of its charitable purposes. I know that you have a busy agenda this afternoon, so I'm going to pause there and see if the chair has any other comments to add, or if not, open to questions from the committee. And thank you again so much for the opportunity to appear.
Thank you. We stand ready for questions. I forgot to say my name for the record. Shay Backus, representing District 37 for the record.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. And we do have some questions from the committee members. We will begin with Assemblymember Roth.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Just a clarifying question. I'm looking at section 1(3)(b)(1), and I'm just wondering, is it your interpretation that the applicants must show that they provide services that are otherwise required to be provided by local government in order to qualify for the tax exemption? And I don't know if this is better for the yeah.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member, for the question. Shay Backus, for the record. This is obviously an existing portion of the statute, and so we would probably feel more comfortable if the Department of Tax is here to have them kind of talk about that, as it's not a part of our request to change.
Do we have someone from the Department of Tax that would like to answer this question? They will be in just a moment to answer the question. Assemblymember Roth, if you wanted to repeat your question.
Thank you so much. I'll give her a second. Thank you. So I am looking at section 1(3)(b)(1), and I'm just looking for some clarity, between B1 and 2. I'm wondering, I guess my question is, should there be an or? And so is the intent that applicants must provide services that are otherwise required to be provided by local government in order to qualify for a tax exemption?
Shelley Hughes, Executive Director for the Department of Taxation. Yes, that is correct. So the intent of this language, from my understanding, is it's supposed to lessen the burden on government.
Chair Considine, through you too, Assemblymember Roth, and I'll just add that the or was there, and the or was the text that was presented to the voters throughout the years, just for stylistic purposes. In our research, the or was removed, but as it was presented to the voters, the or was included, and it is intended to just be an or and not an and.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Hafen.
Thank you, Chair, and I might have a follow-up if that's okay. Thank you, Chair, for bringing this forward. Just clarification, anybody that currently has this status, they're not going to have to like reinvent the wheel and go back and apply, are they? Or are they already going
to? Shelley Hughes, for the record, no, they will not have to reapply. They will already have the exemption. It is a 5-year exemption, so they would have to renew, but they would not have to reapply for this.
And then my follow-up should be fairly simple then. The implementation date is July 1st. Had that been a no, they'd have to all reapply. I'm assuming July 1st would not be timely enough for you to have all those processed. So will the July 1st implementation date continue to work?
Shelley Hughes for the record. It would probably be better if that effective date was October or January for us. But it will be very quick for us to have to program our system.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. And then I just have a quick question just to make sure that most states with sales tax tie their exemption to the IRS 501c3 code, or do most other states?
Francisco Morales for the record. Thank you, Chair, for the question. Most states that have a sales and use tax exemption do reference 501c3. It is not in most states, it is not the only requirement. You still have to submit an application and prove that you are actually charitable. But most states, specifically Colorado, which we looked at and kind of looked at their model, they do reference 501c3 status because, of course, if you've already gone through the process of getting a 501c3 status from the IRS, you have to actually show through a very extensive narrative process that you are, in fact, incorporating for a charitable purpose.
Thank you, committee members. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for the presentation. We'll move on to testimony. And testimony can be given in person in Carson City, via teleconference or via video conference in Las Vegas, or over the phone. And we will begin here in Carson City with those providing testimony in support of 535. And you have up to 2 minutes. Begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine, members of the committee. My name is Driana Dimatulak. That's Drianna Dimatulac. Today I'm representing the Latin Chamber of Commerce in strong support of AB 535. We'd like to thank the chair for her leadership on this important bill, which ensures that nonprofit organizations can fully access the sales and use tax exemption available to them. AB 535 streamlines the application process, making this exemption more accessible and allowing nonprofits to better focus on their mission and serve our communities. For these reasons, the Latin Chamber of Commerce respectfully asks for your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine and committee members. For the record, Becky Dutro, DUTRO, Nevada Taxpayers Association. The association is in support of this bill. We support the change proposed to include those organizations recognized by the IRS as a 501c3 organization as part of the sales tax exemption. Good tax policy speaks to clear understanding and administration of taxes, including exemptions, and this bill is written to align with this. This bill provides clarity with regards to who should receive approval for these exemptions and streamline the process for the taxpayers and the Department of Taxation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Annette Magnus, and I'm here today representing my client, the Asian Community Development Council. We are here in strong support of the bill. On a personal note, I used to do this for a nonprofit, and I can tell you firsthand that this was a huge burden when I was at that nonprofit, and so this bill is desperately needed, and our organization is in full support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. For the sake of brevity, I'll go ahead and echo the comments of those that spoke before me. We really appreciate the increased accessibility to this exemption. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no one else coming up to the table in support in Carson City, we will move to Las Vegas. We already have some people at the table, so please go ahead in support of AB 535.
Good evening, Vice Chair and members of the committee. Henry Rosas, HENRY, ROSAS, External Affairs Manager for United Way of Southern Nevada. I'm here just proudly supporting our colleagues at Nevada Grant Lab, and just so thankful for the chair for her leadership on this issue. This bill, as we see it, is a good government efficiency bill, but more so it allows just for nonprofits to invest more in the communities that they service, and allow for them to just on the back end focus more on program delivery and operations. And so we hope that the committee can also support this bill as well, to just ensure that rightfully qualified nonprofits receive this tax exemption and are able to do the good work that they do for the communities day in, day out.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair. My name is James Lambright, Lambright. I'm the Executive Director of the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. We're a federally recognized 501c3 organization, and our mission is to recognize those who have made an impact in Southern Nevada through sports. Over the last 25 years, we've inducted over 133 men, women, organizations, and families into our organization. Through the proceeds of our 3 annual events, we proudly contribute over $50,000 every single year to college scholarship programs, volunteer coaching grants, and other youth sports initiatives. To date, we've awarded over 75 scholarships to well-deserving graduating high school seniors. We also proudly support the ongoing financial support to organizations like the YMCA, the Miracle League of Southern Nevada, Nevada Youth Sports, and other organizations that support youth sports here in Las Vegas. Simply put, we honor the legacies of our Hall of Famers and create new legacies for future generations. AB 535 is a practical and meaningful update. It aligns Nevada's sales tax exemption criteria with existing IRS standards and eliminates unnecessary duplication in the qualification process. For organizations like ours, this change, although administrative, opens the doors to greater access, more opportunity, and stronger support for our young people across the state. Every dollar saved through this streamlined process goes right back into our community. And for that, this efficiency isn't just helpful, it makes a real and direct impact. And I respectfully urge your support of Assembly Bill 535. Thank you.
Hello, Madam Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Catherine Jacobs for the record, and I am here in strong support of AB 535. I am the CEO of Umbrella Bookkeeping. We are an organization that provides fiscal services to over 40 nonprofits throughout the state of Nevada. And over the years, I have helped more than a dozen organizations to navigate the state's sales tax exemption application process. I have also helped organizations with their renewals, their re-registrations in the case of a lapsed exemption, as well as denials and denial appeal processes. So I have a fair bit of experience with this subject matter. And through my experience, it has become my opinion that the current process, despite the best intentions behind it, is burdensome, inconsistent, and subjective. I have observed differences in outcomes between similar applications, and I have also seen, in my opinion, personal bias affect the outcome of denial appeals. Regardless of the size of organizations, when we're talking about public service, even the smallest amount of funding can make a meaningful difference in the communities that our Nevada nonprofits serve. Additionally, the dollars that nonprofits expend, these charitable dollars, were given for that organization's specific tax-exempt purpose for work towards their mission. And allowing these organizations easier access to a sales tax exemption allows them to direct more of their charitable dollars toward that intended purpose. AB 535 offers a simple, principled improvement to a process that is very important to the strength of our sector. I want to thank the chair and sponsors for bringing this bill forward, and I urge your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else coming up to the table in support for AB 535 AVH. Is there anyone on the phone lines that wants to provide support testimony for 535?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 535, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. We will now move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition to AB 535? Seeing no one, approach the table. We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to the bill? And seeing no one, AVH, is there anyone on the line in opposition to AB 535?
To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 535, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will now move on to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral? Go ahead when you're ready.
Shelley Hughes, the Executive Director with the Department of Taxation. The department is neutral on AB 535.
Thank you. Anyone else here in Carson City? Seeing no one, we'll move to Las Vegas. Does anyone in Las Vegas wish to testify in neutral on AB 535? Seeing no one, AVH, is there anyone on the lines for the bill? In neutral for the bill?
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 535, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you. Would the presenter like to come up and make any final remarks? And they are waiving that. I will then close the hearing on 535. We will open the hearing on Assembly Bill 462. We have Assembly or Chair Backus presenting with co-presenters, and begin when you all are ready.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine and members of the Assembly Committee on Revenue. My name is Shay Backus, and I have the pleasure of representing Assembly District 37. I'm happy to come before you to present Assembly Bill 462. This bill revises provisions relating to economic development and really does contain two separate parts, hence why I have a lot of supporting people here tonight to kind of help us in these expertise. This bill is to revise provisions relating to inland ports, as well as revising existing law implementing a teacher pipeline. With respect to the first portion of the bill, inland ports have been identified as a significant economic opportunity for Nevada as well as in every state plan of the Governor's Office of Economic Development since inception. Due to our proximity, it's been a long day, proximity to both California ports, Long Beach, Oakland, for example, within the federal daily driving limits for delivery and return. As such, they have commissioned two studies about viability, best practices in other states, and potential funding structures, which is what I bring before you today. The Inland Port Authority Act passed in 2011, which is now codified in Chapter 277B of the Nevada Revised Statutes. This act showed significant foresight into the potential benefits of inland ports in our state. GOED's first state plan identified 11,000 jobs were possible across our state from these logistic clusters in just a 5-year period. Yet no one has applied to the office to formally be designated as a port authority. The truth is, although we currently allow a port authority to maintain rates and collect fees for operations and maintenance, funding for the infrastructure is established a port may be challenging for municipalities. Locations designated as appropriate for inland ports are typically miles away from existing activity or infrastructure. That's why they're appropriate, but it makes funding and connecting the infrastructure more challenging. This bill would enable local jurisdictions to utilize an existing tool known as a tax increment financing, as well as bonds to finance the infrastructure necessary to establish an inland port. Inland ports received bipartisan support from the Vegas Chamber's Southern Nevada Forum, and industrial parks have been added due to the significant similarity in their use for distribution and wholesale. The second portion of the bill, and I'll admit, anyone that knows me, I know there's some new people, I like to have multiple parts to bill. So this is the second part of the bill. Revises the existing teacher pipeline program that this committee heard last session to address the teacher shortages by enabling the Clark County School District and other school districts choosing to participate to establish a workforce pipeline to help grow their teachers within and retain future employment in the district. Given the challenges of the program not being fully implemented since the last session, work with stakeholders has been occurring. and occurring. And thus, the revisions included in AB 496 to hopefully get the teacher pipeline program fully implemented has been brought before you. Today, I am joined by Dr. Brenda Pearson down in Las Vegas, who will be probably more on our answering question side with respect to the teacher pipeline, as she has been studying the model that we adopted last session for several years now, as well as Dan Stewart of Brownstein Hyatt. Also, I'm joined by Stephen Wood from the Governor's Office of Economic Development to walk through portions of the bill. I do want to get a shout out because I did see also Director Burns, who's shown up this evening as well from the Governor's Office of Economic Development. So with that, Vice Chair, I would now like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Stephen Wood to walk the committee through sections 2 through 18, and then I will turn it over to Mr. Stewart to walk the committee through sections 19 through 27, if that's okay.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Stephen Wood for the record. So I'll walk you through the inland port sections of the bill quickly. Section 2 defines what qualifies as an industrial park, and that would be as a location and the buildings at that location for the purpose of industrial, distribution, or wholesale use. Section 3 defines municipality for the purpose of the Inland Port and Industrial Park Authority Act. Section 4 outlines projects that could be funded within the inland ports and industrial parks using tax increment financing. This section adds rail projects, airport projects, and utility projects to the list of allowable uses for tax increment financing that already exists in statute. Section 5 authorizes participating entities to create tax increment areas aligned with an inland port and industrial park. It also establishes a special fund for bond payments and financing projects within the designated area in accordance with the Local Government Securities Act law. Section 6 and Section 20 exempt tax increment areas created under Section 5 from certain limits on ad valorem tax revenue and facilitating their funding for projects by removing fiscal constraints. Section 7 authorizes counties or incorporated cities that have created an inland port or industrial park to issue bonds or other securities to defray costs and support the tax increment areas. Sections 8 through 10, as well as sections 17 and 18, expand the Inland Port Authority Act to include industrial parks and industrial park authorities. Those sections also provide that the act may be known as and cited as the Inland Port and Industrial Park Authority Act, and it applies newly created definitions such as an industrial park to existing Inland Port Authority Act provisions. Section 12 authorizes GOED to initiate the creation of an inland port or industrial park authority, subject to the Board of Economic Development's approval to expand initiative options. And finally, Section 16 cleans up the language regarding the governing board of directors for an inland port and industrial park authorities by adding a governor-appointed director if no participating entity is an incorporated city. The language as currently in statute would create a scenario where there could be potentially 2 board members, and that doesn't work. So with that, I will pass it back over to Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Vice Chair and members of the committee. Daniel Stewart for the record. I'm here on behalf of the Clark County Education Association. Ready to shift from the exciting topic of inland ports to teacher pipeline. I do promise that all of these work together towards economic development, so I'm excited to talk about this. I was presented the teacher pipeline bill 428 last session, and I heard some comment today about how committees change. Committees changed quite a bit since last session as well. So just a little background on the bill itself and how we got there, so to understand why we need to do some of these cleanups or some of the things that we're doing. both during my time in the executive branch and then shortly thereafter, one of the things that Nevada quickly learned is that our workforce development system is often broken into silos. There is, oftentimes that's because federal money goes to different places and have different needs and different requirements. And getting everybody on the same page for workforce development can be difficult. In addition, sometimes those workforce development pieces can be short-term. So for instance, if we're in a time of economic crisis, we're looking to get people to work right away. And sometimes we need to look to the long term, like what are the emerging jobs that are going to be around in years to come. At the same time, the Clark County Education Association commissioned a study because they felt that K through 12 needed to be looked at, the K through 12 delivery system needed to be looked at for its role in workforce development, that it needs to be a key player in that. And so that formed the genesis of AB 428. Now, it was called the Teacher Pipeline Bill, and for the most part, that was what its initial focus was, but it's largely a workforce development pipeline bill. But with teachers being the first workforce to develop through this pipeline. And the simple way to describe how this was set up was that K through 12, NSHE, the state of Nevada, and when I say NSHE, I also mean the institutions within NSHE, the state of Nevada as well as the private sector would all find ways to integrate such that you could start recruiting students as freshmen in high school to think about potential careers 7, even 8 years out, where in high school you could decide, say you wanted to be a teacher in the teacher pipeline context, you would take CTE or dual enrollment classes in high school, and part of the promise to you would be if you stay committed to this, you finish the program in high school, you move on to a college, you get accepted to the school you're academically qualified for, you're part of the education program there, you graduate, you're promised a job in a public school here in Nevada, and if you give 3 years back, this body, the legislature, as part of 428, appropriated $10 million that's in the treasurer's account gaining interest that would help pay any outstanding last dollar tuition that you may have, or student loans that you may have had. So essentially the idea is that a freshman, you go to a freshman and say, look, you have a career as a teacher, and you could end up with a college degree, a job, and no debt, and to try to recruit teachers early on. And we did this mandatory in Clark County. We made it permissive elsewhere. The reason for mandatory in Clark County was the feeling that we have so many high schools in Clark County. If we didn't have a mandatory feature to it, the good schools would offer the program, and some of the schools that are struggling wouldn't, and we'd end up with, again, we'd have schools that are better than others. And we want the teachers in particular to come from the communities that they eventually want to teach in. So the idea was to make it mandatory but permissive elsewhere. But everyone in the state could participate and take part of this program and have access to this money. Now that I don't know if anybody here is on the interim education committee, but over the course of the last 2 years, there were a lot of discussions about the implementation in this. And as you can imagine, there were difficulties getting everybody on the same page. But the program is up. Things are up and running, and there's actually been some successes. In particular, UNLV's program has been very successful. But it was clear we needed to put some changes in, both to allow a little additional flexibility in some cases, but also to have a clear chain of command and specificity, because not knowing exactly, again, as I talked about those silos, who's supposed to do what. And so that's gets us to 462. And I will hopefully very quickly just walk through these sections for the questions. So Section 19, that's the section that deals with the $10 million. And there's been a lot of discussion about this money. Can we use it in the front? Can we use it in the back? We feel like it has to stay there and be there for the promise to the students that complete the program. And so in the original draft, and I do want to say I am working off the significant amendment that you received from the Chair Backus that was on Nellis. So I'll be walking through the amended version. And I will talk, because in discussions with NSHE, there's a couple more technical amendments that will be submitted, so I will be identifying those. But the first amendment in Section 19 was we restored the language that deleted that you had to teach in the public schools, so that language went back in the 3 years. We also added a couple of qualifiers. One, it shows that you've completed a FAFSA application as you were part of, because we really want to encourage students to try to get every dollar of financial aid that they're qualified for in this process. We also that they've completed the program in education, and in subpart D, it's gonna read completed a teacher preparation program in the Nevada system of higher education leading to teacher licensure. We also wanted to clarify two things. One of the things in the amendment is we make sure that there was some question about whether student loans qualified as financial assistance, such that you wouldn't be able to get those recouped by that money in the treasurer's. That was certainly not the intent. In fact, the intent is to make sure that that money is available to help pay off those student loans. So we want to make sure it's clear. So we put in there, student loans are not considered financial aid or financial assistance for this purpose. And then finally, because of delays in implementation, but also because it's permissive in other states, we include a catch-all in the amended versions to what the treasurer can do. It basically creates a waiver process. So if you would have been part of this program, but through no fault of your own, your school didn't offer it, but you continue to do the rest of the program, you can petition the treasurer to be included in that tuition abatement program. So that allows. There was some fear of inequities of kids that have wanted to be part of this program since it was created 2 years ago, but it hasn't been set up. But now we have some flexibility there. So that's Section 19 as amended. I will skip. There's really nothing to talk about in 20 or 21. 22 does add some additional specificity and some, like I said, and some flexibility on exactly how this the program is going to be run. It designates the school district to have someone in particular that's going to be over this program, and also to increase that essentially that coordination with middle schools, so that as they're coming into freshman year, there's a awareness that they can start talking to them about these programs even as early as middle school. One thing I want to say too is we've been working very closely with CCSD. We appreciate their collaboration, and they have been worried about some of the staffing issues. One thing's, and I think they're here to testify as well, the Office of Goen, as part of 428, was assigned 2 full-time employees to help implement this program. Those employees are going to be available to directly work with the agencies that are going to be tasked with running these programs. So we hope that'll help provide additional resources to them. In subsection 4 in the amendment, we made it very clear that the Career Pathways program includes taking 2 academic years. And this is an important thing. I didn't realize how important this was, but there is a very big distinction between CTE and dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is one where you receive college credits and you work closely with the higher ed, whereas CTE is often tied specifically to federal money. And so the original bill made it sound like it had to be dual enrollment. We're making it clear that existing CTE programs that the districts already run for education programs, those can qualify as well. Section 23, I think, is probably the most important section when it comes to the creating clear chain of command. This creates the Department of Career Pathways Oversight Committee that's going to be tasked with making sure that all of these agencies are working together, and it includes appointment from Goen, the Superintendent of Public Education, the Superintendent of the Mandatory District, which in this case is Clark County, and then 2 public school teachers. And in the amendment and in the language you're going to get, the way the language is set up is consistent with one of the things that CCA is working on in another bill. I don't want to talk about that bill, but the way that the public teachers' names will be put forward is functionally CCA would provide a list of names, and then the bargaining agent or bargaining unit for the rest of the state, in this case would be NSA, would also submit, and there'd be 2 teacher appointments, one from each on that board, to help create with more of a statewide focus in this bill. And she would also be involved. One of the things that's important too is there's an additional, it talks about how this board is going to set metrics. It's going to provide data. It's going to, again, coordinate. But in amended version subsection E of subsection 2, we also allow this agency or this oversight board to determine which agency is best tasked with this, right? So in the original bill, it looked like it was going, but as you'll see, teachers is not, as you'll see from the next bill, teacher is not the only workforce agency or workforce career that this bill will help. And so this will allow the agency to assign the appropriate subject matter experts to be the essentially the agency that's monitoring and moving forward with this program. So in the teacher case, it's most likely be the Nevada Department of Education. In the healthcare case, we're going to see it could be HHS, could be, if the health authority is approved, this session could be one of those. But this oversight committee will then turn it over to the subject matter experts. Lastly, again, we make sure that there's some flexibility, like this for the specialty schools don't have to have it now. So even though it was mandated, we make it clear that specialty schools don't have to have it if they don't want it. And then one thing I want to flag in section 25, subsection 8 in the amended is essentially this creates, for lack of a better word, a grievance process. If you're a student that feels like you should be, or a parent that feels like this program should be offered and it's not being offered, there is a ability to petition the school board and potentially seek relief in this case. Finally, as part of our amendments, we've deleted section 26 entirely, which I understand was driving a potential fiscal note from UNLV. So they're here to testify as well, but that should do away with that fiscal need with the deletion of 26. And with that, I'm done. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shay Backus. For the record, I just wanted to wrap this up by just noting that obviously, as this bill sponsor, I went ahead and submitted one amendment to this that Mr. Stewart went over. We do have another amendment that is on Nellis from Clark County. That is a friendly amendment, and that pertains to the inland ports. And so basically, I just realized that when we have a very successful inland ports, we're still going to need a lot of educators. So hopefully with that, we can earn your support, and we're ready to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Committee members, do we have any questions? Assemblymember Hafen.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you, Chair, for bringing us the teacher pipeline for shipyards. I think that's the connection here, right? That's not my official question. Sorry, I'm just trying to connect the dots here. But no, going back to the inland port and industrial park, two questions here, hopefully fairly simple, but since the creation of the original inland port, have we had any utilize this statute or not? And if so, how many? And then the second part of the question is, with the expansion from just inland ports to inland ports and industrial park developments, what are the anticipated utilization of this? Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Stephen Wood, for the record. To the first part of your question, no, there have not been any inland port authorities established under the Inland Port Authority Act thus far. And that is one of the reasons why you see this bill in front of you today, is to add more tools to the toolbox so that that can happen. To the second part of your question, why did we add industrial parks? The idea here is that they could essentially co-locate, cohabitate, and help support one another, an industrial park and an inland port. They're very similar uses, right? You have a manufacturer, for instance, in an industrial park, and you have the inland port that's going to move their goods to and from. So the idea is that they could essentially cohabitate and support one another.
Thank you. And I do see a great location in my district, so if you want to talk further of where this could be useful, I'll point you in the right direction. Thank you.
Our next question is from Assemblymember Gray.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'll make it real quick. And I may have missed that I was having a computer issue, but Lyon County has offered an amendment, and I was wondering if you guys were going to incorporate that amendment or where that stood.
Thank you, Assemblymember Gray. Shay Backus, for the record. Right now, that is not a friendly amendment, but obviously we are having discussions with Lyon County about their amendment.
Thank you. I do have a question for the Teacher Academy College. Do we have any idea, or do we have an anticipated number of licensed teachers at Nevada Public Schools that we will get over the next decade from this program?
Daniel Stewart, for the record. I may phone a friend, Dr. Pearson. That may be a better question for you down in Las Vegas.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Brenda Pearson for the record. In the Clark County School District right now in the CTE programs, I think they average around 1,700 students who are participating in the CTE teaching and training program at all times. So those students matriculate through, and as Daniel spoke, they would then go on to a dual enrollment or internship. So our goal is to have them retain within those areas for the 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members, any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for the presentation. We will now move on to testimony in support. As a reminder, as was mentioned earlier, we have 10 minutes for support, 10 minutes for opposition, and 10 minutes for neutral today. So if someone says what you want to say, feel free to say ditto. Please, we'll start here in Carson City in support of AB 462. Please state your name, and you have up to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. We're here in strong support of AB 462. As you heard, updating NRS 277B to better make use of our inland port language happens to also be a Southern Nevada Forum priority. I was lucky enough to serve as a staff liaison for the Economic Development Committee that brought forth this priority. Part of that excitement was around the intermodal line between the Port of Oakland and the Port of Nevada located in Fernley. We're very excited about the potential this has to stimulate investment, attract new businesses, and create additional job opportunities in these newly designated areas. We also appreciate the teacher pipeline language further on in the bill. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Joe Guild, G-U-I-L-D. I'm here on behalf of the Union Pacific Railroad in strong support of AB 462. And already, as Nick just mentioned, the Union Pacific Railroad is actively involved in moving freight from the Port of Oakland to the inland port that's being developed in Fernley. Glad to support this. Thank you.
Vice Chair Considine, members of the committee, Connor Kane with Career Nevada, on behalf of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, Nevada's largest nonprofit organization supporting economic development attraction, together with its public and private partners throughout Southern Nevada. We are here to express our strong support for Assembly Bill 462, a critical bill that will significantly enhance Nevada's economic infrastructure by advancing the creation of inland ports throughout the state. As Nevada continues to experience economic and population growth, we must invest in infrastructure that fosters regional economic development, strengthens our supply chains, and positions the state as a key player in global trade. Nevada's lack of connectivity between its two major metropolitan areas has historically hindered economic growth, and the COVID-19 pandemic further exposed vulnerabilities in our supply chain and access to goods. Inland ports provide a long-term solution by diversifying and stabilizing our economy, improving freight management, and attracting new industries to the state. By leveraging Nevada's strategic location near one of the world's largest economic centers, California, we can strengthen regional commerce and become a major hub for global trade. This bill also aligns with the Western Corridor strategic plan by supporting development of inland ports like the Gene Ivanpah Valley, a key freight commerce corridor. With close proximity to West Coast deep sea ports, access to two Class I railroads, and critical highway connections, Nevada has a unique opportunity to establish itself as a global freight and logistics leader. The 2021 Nevada State Rail Plan and the 2024 GOED report confirm the economic value of inland ports with strong interest from private developers, deep sea ports, and freight shippers. Beyond economic benefits, inland ports can be models of sustainability, integrating nature-positive infrastructure to minimize environmental impact while supporting job growth in renewable energy, eco-friendly shipping, and automated logistics. As global trade evolves, investing in climate-resilient infrastructure will not only create jobs and strengthen supply chains, but also ensure that Nevada remains competitive in a greener, more sustainable economy. It's for these reasons you'll find the World Economic Forum an international organization that brings business, political, and economic types together to shape global agendas, outlining how inland ports can unlock growth, boost economies, create jobs, and protect nature. By supporting Assembly Bill 462, we take a crucial step towards strengthening Nevada's infrastructure, enhancing our competitive edge.
Sorry, your 2 minutes are up, and since we're on a quite
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can always submit your written testimony up to 24 hours after the hearing. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mindy Elliott. I'm here today on behalf of the City of Fernley, which we've been hearing a little bit about. We do have an intermodal train station industrial park that's going in Fernley. Just a little bit of background of Fernley. I'm going to deviate from my comments. City of Fernley was expanded in 2001 for the members that are here. We receive $235,000 a year in consolidated tax. We receive less than the convention center in Elko. We are one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Nevada. Lyon County receives $22 million in consolidated tax, and we receive $235,000. The importance of the intermodal station in Fernley and the industrial development that's happening in Fernley is critical. We are creating jobs. We are creating educational opportunities. We have redwood. You're hearing about the redwood materials that's located in Fernley. All of this, the importance of the inland port. We're moving ore. We're moving potentially ore. They have ore. The Port of Oakland is moving goods. We're moving all types of opportunities from Port of Oakland, from all around the country, can go through Fernley. This is our future, and this bill is so important to the city of Fernley and how we're going to be moving forward. We want to thank Assembly Member Shea Backus for bringing this forward. The council, the mayor, we're ecstatic about how we're moving forward, how important this is. And I know I'm repetitive, but we in Fernley, we've been fighting, and our future is in your hands. We very much appreciate your supporting this bill, and we really like the educational component too. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine, members of the Revenue Committee. My name is Natalie Brown, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Workforce Development and Community Colleges for the Nevada System of Higher Education. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment in support of Assembly Bill 462. We support the vision of AB 462, which aims to strengthen Nevada's educator workforce by creating clear and supportive pathways into the teaching profession, from secondary through higher education and ultimately into service within our school districts. Assessing the educator workforce shortage is a unifying focus among NSHE, K-12 partners, and state agencies alike. We'd also like to express gratitude for the responsiveness and collaboration with many agencies tasked with this very important role. It's encouraging to see so many stakeholders working together to align on a shared vision and ensure the bill is shaped in a way that maximizes its impact. It's our hope that the committee will continue to champion this important effort and the partnerships helping to move it forward. With continued collaboration, AB 462 has the potential to become a transformative piece of legislation for Nevada's future educators. The inland port is also wonderful, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine and members of the Committee on Revenue. My name is Leonardo Benavides with UNLV, here to enthusiastically talk about inland ports. No. In all seriousness here, I want to thank Dan and CCA for working with us to address our concerns on the fiscal note through the amendment they submitted. So on AB 462, the College of Education in particular is very proud because this bill represents a bold, thoughtful investment in Nevada's future. We know that strong teacher pipelines don't just help schools, they lift entire communities. AB 462 expands access to higher education, creates early and meaningful opportunities for students to explore teaching, and reduces the barriers that often keep our most promising young people from entering the profession. The UNLV College of Education was proud to be the first institution in the state to embrace AB 428 from the last session that is the precursor to this work. Because of the thoughtfulness of AB 428, we quickly built viable pathways aligned with school district needs and have already seen the results. Students from across Nevada gaining confidence, skills, and a clear path to a teaching career. Our work has touched youth from Las Vegas to rural communities and tribal lands, proving that this model works and that it matters. AB 462 builds on the momentum and does so in a meaningful way, tied to the economic impact on our state. We appreciate Assemblymember Bacchus for championing this important legislation, and we urge your support.
Thank you. We're going to have to pause here because we're over 7 minutes for Carson City, and we'll move down to Las Vegas. Again, any testimony that you have can be submitted in writing, and if someone says what you have said, please feel free to do ditto. We'll go to Las Vegas, the phones, and then there's time to come back to Carson City. So please, in Las Vegas, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and committee members. Marie Nices, M-A-R-I-E-N-E-I-S-E-S-S, President of CCEA. Thank you, Assemblymember Bacchus, for bringing this bill forward. I'm here today to express my strong support for AB 462. During the 2023 legislative session, the Educator Pipeline Bill was passed. However, implementation was challenging. Based on our experience, AB 462 identifies key areas that require adjustments to strengthen the effectiveness of this legislation. As an educator, I recognize the vital importance of providing clear career pathways for our students by providing structured opportunities for all students, especially those from historically underrepresented backgrounds. Many students lack the resources, guidance, or support to pursue a career. A program that introduces students to education careers as early as middle school will give them the time and exposure needed to make informed decisions about their future. This early investment will help students feel engaged and empowered in their career journey. AB 462 will help break the cycle of poverty by empowering students to achieve financial independence and contribute to their community. It will level the playing field by addressing systemic barriers to career success and ensuring that all students have equal access to career opportunities regardless of their background. The Teacher Academy College pathway will create a more diverse workforce. By supporting students, the Structured Pathways program will help address our teacher shortage. CCEA is committed to supporting CCSD students. We are collaborating with the new superintendent to ensure the successful implementation of the Teacher Academy College pathway. Furthermore, CCA is investing $2 million to help offset costs for CCSD students, reinforcing our commitment to tackling the teacher shortage head on. I urge you to support AB 462 to help build a stronger future for Nevada students and educators. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Constantine and committee members. My name is Elizabeth Adler, E-L-I-Z-A-B-E-T-H, A-D-L-E-R, Language Learning Specialist in CCSD and Executive Board Member of the Clark County Education Association. I'm here to speak in support of AB 462. As a Nevada resident and public school teacher in Clark County since 1998, I have seen that the need for educators in the Silver State has not waned. The need to include the Teacher Pathway program in our middle and high schools will fill a critical need while providing an opportunity for our students to pursue a valuable career without incurring academic debt. The decision to go into education is one that cannot be taken lightly for young people who are passionate about teaching children but cannot afford to go into a career of public service with the knowledge that the entry-level salary combined with astronomical student loan debt is one that, although rewarding, is not financially sustainable. As a former graduate student and adjunct professor at UNLV in the College of Education, I experienced firsthand that we were not and still are not graduating enough teacher education students to fill the vacancies that consistently hover around 2,000 each year in CCSD alone in the past 26 years. I've been a Nevada resident. One year, UNLV had 75 teacher ed grads, and not all of them stayed in the state. This bill is long overdue, and we need to support this Teacher Academy College pathway with financial supports to implement this program with fidelity to ensure our children have highly qualified teachers in their classrooms now and long into the future, and our students have a rewarding and stable career that allows our children to stay in Nevada as adults and give back to the communities that have supported them. To stimulate and grow the Nevada economy, we need an educated workforce, and this begins with the career that educates all other jobs classes, teachers. Please support AB 462. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Angie Joy, spelled A-N-G-I-E-J-O-Y-E, and I'm a first grade teacher at Mountain View Elementary School, and I proudly serve on the executive board of the Clark County Education Association. I'm here today to express my strong support for AB 462. AB 462 creates a better understanding and guidance for the successful implementation of a teacher pipeline. By creating the Teacher Academy College Pathway Program, all students will have an opportunity to pursue education, to diversify our profession, and to build a long-term solution for our teacher shortage. Students will have the opportunity to participate in valuable internships in their 11th and 12th grade years before attaining their degree in education at an NSHE institution. Current students will benefit from seeing more diversity in their community schools and will experience this pipeline and grow up knowing this is a pathway option to them as they progress through school. Students will see people from their community on a successful career path in education and know they can attain the same success through the Teacher Academy College Pathway Program. This early investment will allow students to recognize a viable, attainable career path that starts in their schools and ends with a college degree. These interning high school students go on to graduate and can work for the school district as they finish degree requirements. These students will further benefit by being able to earn an income in their field as they go to college, helping to alleviate the financial strain that many students in underserved populations face. After graduating from an NSHE institution with a degree in education, students will teach for 3 consecutive years in Nevada with 1/3 of their tuition reimbursed each year. This ensures that Nevada students enter the teaching profession with no financial burden. This will open the door for many families to provide a college education for their children that otherwise would not be able to do so without having to take out many loans. With federal funding to education being questionable, we must continue to create ways to help our students, teachers,
I'm
and
sorry,
families
ma'am, but that
succeed.
is the 2 minutes, and we are already over.
Thank
If there's
you.
other people in Las Vegas, if you'd like to quickly state your name and your affiliation before we go to the phones. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Emily Osterberg, and I'm here representing the Henderson Chamber of Commerce and our over 2,000 members, a majority of whom are small businesses, to express our support for AB 462. Economic development is a priority for the Chamber, so we are here specifically for the inland ports, but workforce development is also a priority, so we also are in support of this bill. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Demore. I'm the Executive Director of the Lindsay Institute in Brookings Mountain West, 2 donor-funded public policy centers at UNLV. I'm here in support of AB 462. For some context, last spring, GOED released a Southern Nevada Regional Industrial Study, and this report was completed by Brookings Mountain West, the Center for Business and Economic Research, and the Transportation Research Center at UNLV. 2 of the key findings of the report were that Southern Nevada in particular is a path-through region where freight is shipped by semi-truck from the ports in Southern California to be processed in Utah. And Southern Nevada lacks the funding mechanisms to develop the infrastructure needed to attract firms to fortify the regional economy. So to address this weaknesses, one of the report's recommendations is to amend NRS 277B that created the Inland Port Authority to allow for the creation of tax increment financing. The model for this recommendation is the Utah Inland Port Authority that has developed to date over 12 projects totaling 100,000 acres. And this will facilitate supply chain intervention early in the process to diversify the logistics and warehousing sector that currently distributes goods for final consumer use. I also want to note that inland ports and industrial parks are more than just places for warehousing and shipping raw materials. They can include processing and manufacturing facilities, as well as commercial projects. By making these changes to NRS, Assembly Bill 462 provides local governments with an important economic development tool to fund the infrastructure needed to attract investments to their localities. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Assembly Revenue Committee members. For the record, my name is Tam Lester, and I've been a teacher at Del Sol Academy for nearly 10 years and a proud member of CCEA. I'm here today to express my strong support for AB 462. I have seen firsthand how programs like the Teacher Academy College Pathway can change lives, not just for aspiring educators, but for the students they will teach. This year, I had the privilege of mentoring a student teacher from UNLV. She was part of the teacher and training program in her high school. From day one with her as a student teacher, it was clear that she was made for this profession. She is smart, motivated, and caring. As a Vegas-born Valley resident, she deeply understands the strengths and needs and challenges of our students. She would be an incredible asset to any school, and yet she is not staying in Nevada. Instead, she is taking her skills and education to another state. Why? Because we have not given her enough reasons to stay. AB 462 could have made the difference. By offering tuition abatement for teaching in CCSD, this bill would provide real incentives for the future educators to remain in Nevada, and it would help students like my mentee turn their passion into a career while addressing the critical teacher shortage of our schools. We know that students benefit most when they have teachers who understand their backgrounds and experience. This program helps ensure that Nevada students, especially those from historically underrepresented communities, have teachers who reflect and relate to them. It also gives students who may not otherwise have a clear career path the opportunity to enter a respected, stable profession. We cannot afford to keep losing high-quality educators to other states. We cannot afford to leave classrooms without qualified teachers. AB 462
I'm sorry,
is an
sir, that is your
investment in
2
Nevada's
minutes.
future.
I'm sorry, and Las Vegas, if you haven't testified, please submit your testify. Oh, great, okay. We will now move to AVH. Is there anyone on the line in testimony in support of 462?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 462, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits 117, you are unmuted and you may begin. Caller with the last 3 digits 117, you are unmuted on our end. Please check that you are unmuted on your end and you may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Baucus and committee members. My name is Nathan Inkenbrand, NathanInkenbrandt. I'm a proud member of CCA and a marketing teacher at El Dorado High School. I'd like to speak in support of Assembly Bill 462, which would ensure students have access and receive the benefits of the Teacher Academy College Pathway Program. I have 16 students this year alone that have expressed wanting to become teachers in CCSD, none of which who can afford it because that's a reality. They would all benefit from the Assembly Bill. One is an amazing young man that by no fault of his own has been homeless for 3 years and will walk across that graduation stage in 8 weeks still homeless. It's his dream to be a science teacher. Another is maintaining a 4.4 GPA while climbing on rooftops doing roof repair labor on nights and weekends to try and put away money for college so he can be a social studies teacher. Another young man was gang affiliated until he decided he had what it takes to become a health teacher, son of a single working mother. He joined that gang for financial reasons. He's now unaffiliated, and his pathway to becoming a teacher is what is saving his life. Another young lady wants nothing more than to achieve her dream of becoming an elementary school teacher. Growing up in a trailer as part of a family of 5, for money, she buys clothes at the Goodwill to sell to strangers she connects with through the Depop mobile app. Make no mistake, these are not stories, they are people. I'm seeing them all tomorrow. I saw them today. We have so many amazing programs in Nevada to make teachers out of college graduates and school district employees. There has to be a better way to make teachers out of our students. I strongly urge you to support Assembly Bill 462. Respectfully, Nathan Inkenbrand.
Chair, the public lines are open and working, but we have no more callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. Support did go about twice as long as was expected, so if we needed to do that for opposition, we can, and we will begin opposition here in Carson City. Please state your name, and you have up to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Chair and members of the committee. My name is Taylor Allison, last name Allison. On behalf of Lyon County, while we strongly support economic development in inland ports, we must respectfully oppose AB 462 as proposed due to its lack of provisions in Section 5, ensuring that governing bodies of overlapping taxing entities have the ability to approve participation in tax increment financing, as this type of financing carries inherent risks. Lyon County has submitted an amendment that we urge you to consider, as well as we believe it is a reasonable common ground solution to this issue. Our amendment clarifies that if an inland port or an industrial park is created within the boundaries of multiple taxing entities, each governing body within those taxing entities must approve participation before any portion of tax revenues may be bonded or financed. This ensures that municipalities do not have unilateral authority to divert future tax revenues from each other, school districts, fire protection districts, or other special districts without explicit approval. We've been in discussions and will continue to work with Chair Backus and GoEd, and we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 462? Seeing no one step up, is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition of 462? AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to 462?
Chair, we have no callers to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will move towards neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City who wishes to testify in neutral on Assembly Bill 462? Please state your name for the record and begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Considine, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Chris Sewell, S-E-W-E-L-L. I'm the director of DETR. Specifically, I would like to address section number 23. I believe that does make some very important clarifying changes to how this teacher pipeline needs to grow. And so with that, it will make it easier for the different agencies to work together. And that's what we need to be making sure, that the agencies are working together for this teacher pipeline to make sure that we have students in Nevada stay in Nevada. Many of you know my wife is a kindergarten teacher, and she didn't come from Nevada, she came from Nebraska. And I'm glad Nevada now has her. She loves her job, but we need to make sure we have homegrown teachers. Now, the good part. With workforce development, we do have funding available to help support this career pathway program and its mission. So I am guaranteeing $1 million to help support this program through our workforce development programs, through our SEP funding. So that way there's no fiscal note for support, and we were at DETR, and we will make sure that this program is fully funded to make sure that all the agencies are working together for our kids and for our future teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral on AB 462? Seeing no one, is there anyone in Las Vegas who wishes to testify in neutral on the bill? Seeing no one approach, AVH, is there anyone on the line to testify in neutral on AB 462?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you. I'd invite the presenter to come up for any final remarks. Since she is waiving those final remarks, I will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 462, and we will take a quick 1-minute recess.
We'll go ahead and call this meeting back to order, and we'll go ahead and open the hearing on Assembly Bill 314. Welcome Assemblymember Edgeworth to Revenue, and obviously Mr. Stewart is back as well, so feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Backus and members of the committee. I am Rebecca Edgeworth, representing Assembly District 35, which is down in Southwest Vegas. Today I'll be presenting Assembly Bill 314, which revises provisions relating to economic development. I have with me Daniel Stewart, who probably looks familiar to you. He's here also. He's going to be going through the bill as well as the uploaded conceptual amendment. So as some of you know, or you might not know, my civilian job is being a doctor and being a professor. And I've been practicing for 20 years in Vegas, and I taught a lot. I've taught MDs, DOs, nurses, APNs, PAs, everything you can think of. And so this is a topic I'm very passionate about, educating people to be the next generation. So while running for office, like you, I went and knocked on a lot of doors and met a lot of people. Whenever I mentioned that I was a doctor, I immediately got hit with, why is medical care so terrible in the state of Nevada? Like many, many, many times. And so I had to give it a little bit of thought. I have a lot of thoughts about it. People ask me, why do I have to wait months for an appointment? Why did my daughter have to wait for hours in the emergency room? These are all the kinds of things that I got to hear. So I would submit that healthcare in Nevada isn't really bad. It's just that Nevada doesn't have enough of it. We don't have enough doctors or nurses or pretty much anything you could think of. I put together a couple. I am aware that this is our last presentation and that everybody wants me to go fast. So I'm going to go fast. I'm not going to read every slide. That would be ridiculous. But just, pardon me? Oh, okay. Right. So medical care in Nevada, a lot of the people up north say that it's a rural problem. I'm going to tell you it's actually an entire state of Nevada problem. There's a shortage of practitioners, a shortage of everything you can think of. A lot of this data has come from John Peckham. Thank you. He's from UNLV, collects a lot of data that has to do with healthcare shortages. And this little map is demonstrating that the vast majority of Nevada is in a severe shortage of all kinds of healthcare people. And I'm only mentioning doctors and nurses because there's the most data, but we are, as usual, we are the last, unfortunately, in the country for a number of physicians, number of specialists, number of primary care practitioners, and then we are very, very low in nurses as well. It's estimated that we need almost 5,000 more nurses just to be close to the national average. So I think that we all know that this is a big problem. We may not know, we don't hear about it enough, but it's also occupational therapy, physical therapy, all kinds of different ancillary people who require college degrees and certifications to be able to operate in Nevada. So the thing that is most talked about, I think, in the legislature is how do we get more people, and it's open up more training. And I think that that's probably part of it, having more college. We have a new medical school that's going to be starting in July, and new GME, people talk about it quite a bit. But I would suggest to you that as somebody who has taught so many people and poured my whole heart into teaching people, only to watch them leave and go to California or neighboring states, I have to say that I think the key here is going to be retention. And I'll tell you that there's the HEAL program, which is reimbursing doctors who choose to practice in rural areas, but also there's I think a lot of research to show that if Nevadans are trained in Nevada, they're more likely to be retained in Nevada. So this is my last slide, and it's just statistics, pretty powerful statistics that show that if we could get Nevadans into Nevada schools, and then especially if they train in Nevada, they're very likely to be retained in Nevada. Right now, we have a lot of people leaving our state after they get training, and that's not good for anybody. So, the situation is abundantly clear. We need more healthcare professionals in the Nevada's workforce. It's critical we take action to grow our workforce in these key areas, which is what I aim to do with AB 314. By taking steps to address some of the factors that prohibit Nevadans from seeking these careers, such as the cost of pursuing advanced certifications or degrees that might be required, and lack of access to pathway programs that help support students through their educational careers, this bill intends to bolster our workforce in this crucial industry. Not that teachers aren't crucial, for the record. But I think that healthcare also very, very important. So with AB 314, we want to build upon the Career Pathways Demonstrations Program that was established in AB 428 in the 2023 legislative session, which is what we were just talking about with Assemblywoman Backus's her pipeline. This was also mentioned. So with that, I'm going to ask Daniel Stewart to go through the bill. I'm sure he'll be much more brief than I will.
Daniel Stewart for the record, representing the Clark County Education Association, and as an attorney, I doubt I'm ever briefer than anyone. So, but I will keep this. Actually, it's why 462 is so important to go first. When 428 was created, one of the promises was that while we were starting with teachers as the first kind of pipeline to model, that this would be used for other subjects, other industries, and healthcare was always identified as the likely next one, whether we're talking about nurses or doctors and so forth. So in many respects, 314 is a companion piece to not only AB 428 from 2023, but AB 462. And I do want to mention there is a conceptual amendment again online to just streamline this, and I'll be very quick about how this would work. Essentially what it would say is, should AB 462 pass, the Governor's Oversight Committee, or in this case, until 462 passes going, they would be tasked with essentially looking at the healthcare industry, talking to subject matter experts, and again, modeling a healthcare pathway program, pipeline program that would then match, in many respects, the teacher program. However, obviously there's going to be different internships opportunities, different types of educational requirements, and that oversight committee that will be created will be tasked with delegating it to the right agency, getting the right employees involved, but essentially adhering to that same model that we start recruiting kids in high school from our local schools to go through high school, go through college, and then stay in Nevada. And then the one big change, there was a mention in the original bill that there were going to be an additional appropriation of $10 million. The amendment would allow the healthcare folks to also access that same money that's already been appropriated to the extent they meet the same requirements of completing the program and working back in Nevada. So essentially that same money that's going in the treasurer's office for the teacher pipeline would also be available for the healthcare pipeline as well. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation on Assembly Bill 314. Members of Revenue, anyone have any questions regarding Assembly Bill 314? I'll ask a question. When looking at, and I was trying to intersect Assembly Bill 462, specifically Section 23, to be the advisory committee. And I know it was originally tailored, when AB 428 from last session came forward, the intent was to create a pipeline that was accessible to different needed fields. And I know before our prior director of OWIN, Mr. Hammond, kind of healthcare was one of his top thoughts when we had these discussions. With that, do you think the committee set forth in 23 would be also adequate if both bills were to pass to address healthcare profession?
Daniel Stewart for the record. I would say in theory you could pass 314 without having to pass 462, but 462 is critical in particular because it deals with the various shortcomings and problems we had with integration. So by getting 462 in and tightening that and creating this larger oversight committee that then has the power to delegate away from going to potentially, like I said, HHS or the health authority if that's created, it would make the program where we wouldn't suffer from some of the same problems we saw with the implementation of the teacher program in 2023. So I would definitely urge the passage of both. I think they work in line.
Thanks so much. With that, Assembly members, any other questions regarding this bill? I know it's been, yeah, and we'll go to Assembly Member Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a really quick question. So since Section 3 is deleted, which would have created the account, but you can still receive, can you just explain the funding component now that that part's gone? I guess that's the easier question.
Daniel Stewart for the record. Excellent question. What it will say, the conceptual amendment, or where it'll work is it'll say specifically, so the money and the discretionary authority of the treasurer is already created in NRS 226420, and that prescribes how the treasurer is allowed to give out that money upon the completion of the program. The terms of what it means to complete the program would be set by the Oversight Committee and the folks creating the integration. But once the program's created, the new Section 3 with the amendment will say that then they can access it just like through the Treasurer's Office through the existing program.
Thank you so much. I believe we have a question from Assembly Member O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. Just to make sure I understand, the $10 million appropriation is already is in another bill. They're not two separate. It's one, and it'll be continued, so every biennium will do another 10 million.
Daniel Stewart for the record. Great question. I have good news for you. You don't have to appropriate any new money for this. And I know money's on everybody's mind right now. The money, the 10 million was appropriated last session. And we understood at the time that the earliest that individuals were going to start being able to draw on that, because it took a high school through college through career, was probably going to be like 6 or 7 years. The idea was that $10 million would accumulate and become a self-sustaining fund throughout. And so, no, there would be no additional appropriation or no needed additional appropriation at this time for either bill to pass.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. With that, I don't believe we have any other questions from our committee members. So if you want to step back from the dais, we can then go ahead and open the hearing for testimony in support of Assembly Bill 314. We'll go ahead and start hearing Carson City. And Nick, when you're up at the mic, you can feel free to start.
Good evening, Chair Backus, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. We are here in strong support to AB 314 as well. We would like to thank the bail sponsor for her commitment to incentivizing not only increasing the exposure, but actually attracting young Nevadans into the healthcare field, as well as then keeping them there once they graduate. We were strong proponents of AB 428 last session, that this is an extension of, and really appreciate this expanding into this field. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Backus, members of the committee. My name is Aiden Casey, AIDANCASEY for the record. I serve as an intern for the Department of Government Affairs for the Associated Students of the University of Nevada, representing the undergraduate student body at UNR. I'm here to express our strong support for AB 314, which creates a program reimbursing higher education-related fees for students pursuing careers in education or healthcare who may be in financial need. According to the 2023 ASUN Issues and Priorities Need Assessment, 74% of students identified financial concerns as their number one priority, with 58% of students identifying the cost of tuition and fees as their greatest financial concern. Many of these students come from Asian, Black, Indigenous, and other ethnic backgrounds. Additionally, the second most pressing issue with UNR undergraduate students is career development. AB 314 addresses these concerns for students studying healthcare and K-12 education by reimbursing all mandatory fees that those students pay to the university. This will soften the financial burden that students at the university face and help with career development as well. Additionally, this will serve as an incentive for students to pursue careers in K-12 education and healthcare, which is something that will serve as a huge benefit to the state. We're currently facing a shortage of healthcare workers and teachers, and by passing AB 314, this bill will relieve financial burdens for students in higher education and create much needed inclination for students to pursue careers in these fields. Thank you for your time, and go Pack.
Good evening, Chair Backus, Vice Chair Considine, and members of the Revenue Committee. My name is Natalie Brown, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Workforce Development and Community Colleges with Nevada System of Higher Ed. I'm speaking today in support of AB 314, and she supports the concept and its focus on easing barriers in accessing education and healthcare pathways and preparing these individuals for workforce through work-based learning opportunities. We look forward to seeing this bill develop and further engaging as it does. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chair Backus and members of the committee. My name is Austin Daly on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno. For the record, as an institution dedicated to higher education and workforce development, we are in support of AB 314 as we believe this bill will help address financial barriers that prevent many students from pursuing a career and filling critical workforce shortages in the education and healthcare sectors. The Nevada Education and Healthcare Pathways account outlined in the bill will not only benefit students, but also strengthen our healthcare and education systems, ensuring that Nevada remains competitive in attracting and retaining skilled professionals. We want to thank Assemblymember Edgeworth for bringing this bill forward and for her focus on healthcare workforce pipelines, and hope that the state makes a strategic investment in its future workforce. Thank you.
Dear Chair Backus and members of the Revenue Committee and staff, my name is Annie Vong with Cartwright NV Government Affairs. It's spelled ANNIEV as in Victor, ONG. I'm testifying on behalf of High Sierra Area Health Education Center, whose healthcare workforce programs focus on underserved and rural communities. They've submitted a letter of support and wanted to reiterate their support for the bill. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Backus, Vice Chair Considine, and committee members. Zoe Houghton, representing the Nevada Nurses Association, with just a quick support. We know that Grow Your Own is a key strategy to increasing providers in our state, and we're thankful for the sponsor for bringing this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and go down to Las Vegas and take testimony in support of Assembly Bill 314.
Good evening, Chair Backus. My name is Damon Schilling. I am the Director of Government Relations for Intermountain Health. That's SCHILLING. On behalf of Intermountain Health, I am here to express strong support for Nevada Assembly Bill 314. This critical legislation emphasizes the need to cultivate and invest in homegrown healthcare providers, ensuring a strong and sustainable workforce for our communities. Nevada faces ongoing challenges in meeting the growing demand for skilled healthcare professionals. By investing in education and training opportunities for local students, AB 314 helps secure a future where our communities are cared for by providers who understand and are dedicated to serving their neighbors. This investment is not only about addressing current workforce shortages, but about building a healthier Nevada for future generations. Intermountain Health is committed to supporting initiatives that strengthen our healthcare system and empower local talent. We urge you to support AB 314 to ensure resilient, locally grown healthcare workforce for years to come. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to Nevada's health and well-being.
Good evening, Chair Backus, committee members, Marie Nisus, MARIENEISESS, CCA President. I'm here to speak in support of AB 314. AB 314 presents an invaluable opportunity for our students by creating an additional career pathway in the healthcare field. AB 314 will provide financial support for students to explore various medical career options, giving them a broader perspective on their future. AB 314 is essential as it directly addresses the critical shortage of healthcare professionals in Nevada. By offering a focused career path in the medical field, it opens doors for students to explore careers they may not have otherwise considered. This will help fill the growing gap in our healthcare workforce and significantly contribute to the state's economy. AB 314 includes provisions for reimbursement for tuition, charges paid to an institution within the Nevada System of Higher Education, or a licensing board or regulatory body in the state. This support is crucial for students in financial need and preparing for employment in the healthcare profession. It ensures that students pursuing careers in these critical fields can do so without being burdened by the high cost often associated with educational and licensing requirements. AB 314 will positively impact high school and college graduation rates by keeping students engaged and motivated. We have a chance to inspire the next generation, showing them a clear and achievable pathway to success in the healthcare industry. We thank Assemblymember Edgeworth for bringing this bill forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Brenda Pearson. I'm reading testimony into the record.
This written testimony is provided to endorse AB 314. My name is Dr. Danielle Knoepel, Knoeppel, and I'm an educational audiologist employed by the Clark County School District and a member of CCEA. In my capacity as an audiologist, I provide direct services to the youngest children requiring special education by verifying their access to the early childhood special education curriculum using their audition or their hearing, the gateway to acquiring speech and language and thereby influencing all other aspects of learning. My first introduction to the field of audiology came from growing up with a grandmother who experienced hearing loss and balance issues for most of her life. This has impacted my life's work to this day. But what about students who lack exposure to the numerous fields of study in the healthcare profession where they could experience the same satisfaction as I do, knowing they assisted in improving the lives of those in their communities by simply providing career exploration opportunities to middle and high school students to learn of various choices in the field of healthcare, choices post high school graduation. We can change the trajectory of their lives by expanding their career options. Many healthcare providers came to our state from somewhere else, an opportunity to make an impact and create a life to be proud of. We lack healthcare providers, though, in this city's inhabitants, whether that's young, old, or chronically ill. Standalone Children's Hospital is in the process as we speak, but who will staff it? A mechanism to assist these talented students, such as these, will demonstrate to them and our communities that our state cares and is preparing for their future. Thank you for your time and considering this legislation.
Good evening, Chair Backus, Assembly Committee on Revenue. My name is Anahit Bakhshetsan. For the record, that is ANAHITBAGHSHETSYN, and I'm a research assistant at Nevada Policy. Nevada Policy today comes in strong support of AB 314. As we heard today, it's a meaningful step towards improving workforce and increasing career preparedness, but I'd like to provide a little bit more of a research background and numbers to convince you a little further. Nevada currently ranks amongst the lowest in the nation for parental confidence in both workforce and college preparedness. In a recent survey conducted by 50CAN, which is a leading educational policy research hub in the United States, they surveyed 20,000 parents across the nation. So Nevadan parents had 22% confidence in their child's college preparedness on average and 24% in workforce preparedness. These numbers effectively landed us in the bottom 3 of the nation, which I think underscores the urgency of how important it is to provide career exploration opportunities for all of the students in the Silver State. By exposing students in high school to healthcare careers, we ensure that the professionals who get trained in Nevada also stay in Nevada, as we heard in the presentation today. So this is a very beautiful and very efficient way to address the shortage that we have, which we have also seen in the session with all the interstate compacts and all the legislature that is trying to address the pressing problem. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Good afternoon, Chair Backus, committee members. Dan Price, career and technical ed teacher in CCSD and an executive board member of the Clark County Education Association. I'm here to speak in support of AB 314, along with other bills that seek to increase career opportunities. This bill seeks to create pathways for students who are seeking careers in the medical field. We find that medical care is not only an issue for those without insurance, but it's difficult for those who have excellent insurance. It is an issue of the shortages, general practitioners and specialists. As a teacher, I see many of my colleagues who end up resorting to emergency room visits, not because we wait until medical conditions become critical, but because we cannot find doctors who are taking new patients or can see us in a timely manner. I also have several students who wish to enter the medical field, but have no way of finding access to programs. The magnet programs that exist are not sufficient to support the need we have. Please support AB 314. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Seeing no one else making their way up to the dais, AVH, do we have anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in support of Assembly Bill 314?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 314, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon. This is former Assemblywoman Clara Thomas. I am calling in full support of AB 314. I noticed back in 2020, during the pandemic, when everyone was concerned about our nurses in the state of Nevada, our shortages, and I am so happy right now that Assemblywoman Edgeworth, has brought this bill forward because there is a need to create a pathway for our healthcare providers. The workforce can be built to give the attention to the community of the state of Nevada, the full state of Nevada. We know that there is a shortage, and since 2020, we've sat on our thumbs. And I think that this is so important. Like I said, I'm so excited about AB 314 that I cannot contain myself. This is something that has been needed in our state for ages. And right now, with 3.5 million people, we cannot sit back and wonder who's going to come to our rescue during another pandemic. It is essential that we create a workforce, and AB 314 is that bill. I have been anxious to tell people that we're not reinventing the wheel. The wheel has already been invented. If we go to Clara Barton, that's Barton High School in Brooklyn, New York, we can see that they are putting out LPNs, EMTs, dental assistants, eye care specialists, medical coders. This is something that can come to the state of Nevada, and that we can have a freestanding high school that will keep our kids here in the state of Nevada, where they can be functional, important workforce for the state of Nevada. And again, I just want to say again, I am ecstatic about AB 314. Finally, an Assemblywoman that has brought forth a bill that we actually can use, that's tangible for our kids, to keep them here in the state of Nevada, to be productive in the state of Nevada, to contribute to our health care. And I am in full support of AB 314. Thank you, Assemblymember Edgeworth, for bringing this forward. Thank you so much.
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no more callers to testify in support.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead. We'll come back to Carson City. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 314? I don't see anyone making their way up to the dais, so we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 314? Doesn't look like it. So we'll go back to AVH. AVH, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 314?
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no callers for opposition.
Great. We will move on to neutral testimony. We'll take neutral testimony here first in Carson City to Assembly Bill 314. Welcome back, Director Soul.
At least the street lights aren't on yet, so it's still nice. For the record, Chris Sewell, Director of Dieter. Just like the teacher pipeline, this is a program for a healthcare pipeline. And that is one of the areas that, Dave Schmidt, our chief economist, always says we need more workers. And this is a great way to get more workers. I know I'm talking in neutral, but we do need more healthcare workers. And like I said last time, I'm going to say that this again. Dieter's going to be putting together another $1 million to help seed this program. So that way we don't have an issue like we had with 428. This program will have $1 million seed money for workforce. So that way we can get this program up and running quickly as we possibly can. And I guarantee that so we'll have $1 million for the teacher pipeline and $1 million for the healthcare pipeline. So that way we have a good, solid programs for both areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. We'll go up to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 314? AVH, I'm not sure if anyone's joined the phone line since we've moved to neutral, but is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to give testimony in the neutral to Assembly Bill 314?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. At this time, we would invite the bill sponsor back up to the dais for any closing remarks, and she's already decided to waive those. So at this time, I can go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 314, and we can move to our very last item on our agenda, which is public comment. Anyone wishing to give public comment here in Carson City, please make your way to the dais. Doesn't look like we have anyone in Carson City wishing to give public comment this evening, so we'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give public comment this evening? With that, AVH, has anyone joined the phone lines to give public comment this evening?
Chair, we have no callers to provide public comment.
Then with that, that was our last item on the agenda. I can say we can go ahead and close our hearing this evening.